Right, good morning. Hi, and welcome to our webinar on an introduction to ftrack-connect. My name is Vitaly Kobyshev. I'm ftrack's regional sales manager for EMEA. And we're very excited to talk to you about how you can launch the ftrack-connect package with ftrack Studio. Today we'll run through how you can publish and launch applications, which DCC plugins we offer, have a high-level introduction to the plugins and what they do, find logs and other useful information. But before we jump in, I'd like to introduce my colleague who will be running the webinar, Lorenzo Angeli, Pipeline Solutions Architect based in Barcelona.
Good morning, everyone. Glad to have you all interested in ftrack-connect.
Awesome. So we expect the webinar to last about 45 minutes. Please do use the question and answer panel, the Q&A panel at any time. We will try to go through all the questions at the end. If we don't have time to answer your question, we'll probably follow up. We should follow up shortly on email. So let's begin. Lorenzo, over to you.
Yes, absolutely. Sorry, here I am. Just one second. Here we go. So, Lorenzo Angeli, Pipeline Solution Architect here at ftrack, and mostly maintaining ftrack-connect and the ftrack API. Today, we're gonna start looking into ftrack-connect and ftrack-connect package, and hopefully take the chance to disambiguate what is one and what is the other. As we don't know whether you have previous experience with ftrack-connect, we're gonna start from the basics. And if you do have experience with ftrack-connect, buckle up. By the end of the webinar, we're gonna go into more advanced concept and setup for it. So without further ado, let's start. So what we're gonna do is to start with a bit of an overview, breaking down what are the connect functionalities. Starting with what is ftrack-connect package. As we said, it's to disambiguate. So ftrack-connect package, it's the Python, is basically a packaged redistributable format of ftrack-connect itself, which is the Python interface. ftrack-connect package also comes with a set of the utility plugins, as well as the plugin for the integrations that were released at the time of the packaging itself of ftrack-connect. But what is ftrack-connect for? What does it do? So ftrack-connect provides an integration with the ftrack application from your desktop. So it's a standalone integration tool. What does this allow? ftrack-connect allows to integrate the application themselves. So basically providing a way to inject ftrack within the applications, provide the ability of publishing files, run actions, and the application launcher, which basically are just, as we're gonna see in a minute, just a different flavor of the actions that you might have saw in a previous webinar. Through the use of this plugin, of course, we can extend the functionality of ftrack-connect itself. So starting from the basics, it's where to download it from. ftrack-connect is downloadable from our main Connect portfolio page, and from where you will be able to find a package for the three major operating systems that we do support, which are Windows, of course, in an MSI format, for OS X in DMG, and for Linux, CentOS 7 at the moment in a zip format. The installation process will follow the same as any other application that you will have to install for Windows and OS X. Where for Linux being distributed in a zip format, of course, will be on you to uncompress and save it in an executable path where it can be found. In the same page, what you will be able to see along with the download links for Connect, it's the list of the available integration that ftrack does provide. Just bear in mind that the integration you will be seeing this page might not be by default available into the Connect package you will be downloading. That's because Connect contains just the integration that were released at the time of the packaging. We're gonna go more in details about the plugins later on during this webinar. So let's leave it at it for now. The latest plugin, in any case, can be found usually on our user forum, but again, more on it later. So, Connect, once it's installed, it will appear as any other standard application that you have into your operating system and will be searchable through the launcher itself. Of course, ftrack-connect can be run also as a command line, if you like, which will be providing some more options, but are just for advanced use. And at this point, let's start digging into what we're gonna see into this presentation for Connect. So we're gonna start looking at the user authentication, the storage scenario configuration, how to publish files, so the file publishing itself, the application and action launches, and then we're gonna go into the tray icon and utilities, and then we're gonna start digging into some more advanced concepts. Hope you're ready. So let's get started. Authentication. So the first time you're gonna start Connect, you will be asked to authenticate, of course, and you're gonna get two options here. The first option, which is the default one, will simply ask you to provide the web address of the instance of the ftrack server that you're using, whether it's on premises or cloud, it doesn't matter. You will have just remember to add HTTP or HTTPS where it's needed. As long as you're logged in to the instance of ftrack-connect, the credentials will be pulled from your user and will be used in Connect to authenticate. In case you want to use another credentials, for example, for debug purposes or to impersonate someone else, you can do it clicking on the sign in with username and API and provide the full set of information. Again, the web server address, but along with it, you will be in need of providing the username in use and the API linked to it. The API key is something that you will be able to find under your user profile. First time you will have to generate it, and that will be must. So save it somewhere because it can get useful along the way when you code actions and other things. So once this is done, it's the next thing you will find yourself with is the storage scenario. So if it's the first time you run Connect, it's likely that you're gonna have Windows presented like the one on the left. So where it will be notifying you that your storage scenario is not properly configured. So clicking on the configure now will open up the web browser onto the configure storage scenario page, where you will be asked to provide a name and then some mount points. Why different mount points? ftrack-connect does not, ftrack itself does not save the files that you publish as a full path. It saves the data of your files into the server and will be rendering, or better say resolve, the file path depending on your operating system. So of course, if you run Connect in a multi-operating system environment, it's suggested to have all the mount point properly set for each of those. Once you're happy with your settings, just click Submit, close Connect to pick up the changes and restart it. At that point, the error should have gone and you should be ready to start publishing. So publishing, of course, allows to track working files and have them saved into the central storage. We're not going to go too much in details into the storage and location concept for ftrack, as it's pretty complicated, and this is absolutely something to be reviewed in a dedicated webinar, possibly, where we can go more into details. But just all you need to know at the moment is that the storage scenario defines where your files, where ftrack will be going to save your files, create the folder, and name the files for you. Of course, creating the versioning, and so on. So let's start looking into the publishing process. What we're gonna do, of course, is to start breaking down the interface from top down, looking on the general interface, and then start going into details. So let's see. So interface, the first thing, of course, that you will have to provide are working files that you want to publish. This is the first part on top of the publish interface. Next to it, we're gonna have the context linking, which is a really important concept into ftrack, the context itself. So it's the logical address into ftrack of entities, whether these are shots, folders, projects, sequences, or tasks. The asset that you want to publish, so whether you're publishing something new or if you are adding a version on top of something that has already been published. Optional fields. So this last bit of the options is really optional and is not strictly required for the publishing to be successful. What this does provide, and we're gonna see that in details in a minute, is to augment your publishing with more information that can be useful, for example, for the next person that will have to deal with your material. So let's start getting into more details now. Selecting a files. So there are two ways for you to provide ftrack-connect with the files to be published. The first one is the drag and drop. So you can take any files from your desktop or any folder of your file system, dragging and dropping into the interface. Second, through the Browse button, you're gonna get the Filesystem Browser. One of the benefits that the Filesystem Browser is that really resembles closely what your operating system will be representing your file system as. One of the benefits of the ftrack file system browser in this case is that if you have any image sequence, this will be represented, as you can see into the screenshot, as a collection. So with a simple click, you will be able to take the whole sequence that you want to publish. Either way, if you have been dragging and dropping the files into the interface, or if you have been selecting them manually, the end result will always be the same, components. So for each file, and you can have as many as you like, that you have selected, it will be creating a component entry into the connect interface, which later on will be translated into a component into the version itself. Components by default, of course, will be getting the name out of the file that you have been selecting, excluding the extensions. The file name will be used as component name. It's pretty common to fix the name to match the content that you're publishing, so to give a better representation of what you're publishing. And in case you made any mistake, of course, you can click on the trash bin next to it to reset and restart the process. So you can remove one component and then add another one, fix it, and keep on going as long as you're happy with what you're about to publish. Next to it, we're gonna start looking into the linking. So as we said, context. Context can be basically any of the entities, even custom entities that you might have been creating into your workflows of ftrack. Once you click on the browse, what you will get is the ftrack browser. Ftrack browser basically is a way to represent all the various material that you can access into the ftrack instance in a hierarchical way, as basically similar to the file system browser. And from here, you will be able to browse all your entities, all your hierarchy up to what you want to pick. And in this case, we are picking a task and as an example. So whatever is your selection, by the end of it, just click choose and your context will be set. What you do see into the linked to is the, I'd say, is the file path representation. So basically it's a human readable way to represent your full context from the project to the leaf, which is in this case is the task that we have been selecting. If you made any mistakes, if you want to change the context, just click the X you will be resetting to the browse button, click browse, reopen the browser, and change your selection. Little tip while we're here. So as long as you have Connect open and running, of course, into your desktop, you can recall Connect from the web interface, clicking on the icon next to the actions. What this will provide basically is will open up Connect, setting the context for you directly. So this is a really quick and effective way if you want to publish something against a task. So click on the icon, it will open up Connect, you're ready into the right context, you can start dropping the components that you want into it, click, select whether you want to create a new asset, we're gonna see it in a minute, and click publish, and you're sorted. So let's see now. So assets, as we were saying, there are mostly two options available here. So if you want to create something new, or if you want to add a version to something that you've already been creating. In the first case, the option that you have available will be, of course, a unique name that you want to provide your asset with. It could be a chair, it could be a house, it could be a character, whatever you want, but more importantly, is going to be the type. The asset type. You might be coming from a background with this concept, is pretty common, but if not, asset types are a way to categorize the material that you're publishing. And these are defined from the server side. Again, we're not going to go much into details on asset types and their options. You can find more information into our own help at help.ftrack.com. Once these are totally customizable, you can have as many as you are, as long as they can fit your needs. So in case you want to version up an existing file, of course, as you have been creating an asset type before, you won't be in need of selecting it again. All you need, it will be to select a previously published asset. In this case, of course, in the dropdown that you will be presented with, you will find all the assets that have been published already into the context that has been selected. Changing context will provide you with different assets, of course. What does leave us with now? The optional fields. So again, these optional fields, as much as they're optionals, they won't stop you from publishing your asset, but can improve the amount of information that's going to be provided. And in this case, let's go into them one by one. So web playable, the drop-down web playable will allow you to select one of the components that you have been added into Connect. Why is that? The web playable will be able to pick either images or QuickTime movies, and these will be sent to the server for encoding, for playing. So if you want, for example, to have something, you have been creating a QuickTime maybe, and you want to be able to play them on the web, this is what is the component that you will be selecting to make it web playable. In case, instead, you have been publishing, well, of course, these two things can go along together, but in case, for example, you have been publishing something where we cannot extract a thumbnail from, let's say, for example, a text file, you can provide a custom one. As much as the components, you can simply drag and drop an image into it, and this is what will be used as final thumbnail for your version. Last but not least, actually, possibly one of the most important things, description. Description will allow you to provide some contextual text that will be saved along your version. So of course, this is the right place where to add information on whether you have been fixing something, improving something, for whoever will have in case to review your material. At this point, all is left is to click the publish button to go and start the publishing. Once the publish starts, you will be, well, actually, when the publish ends, you will be notified on whether it has been successful or there's been any problem with it. If there's been any problem with it, we're gonna go through it later. But of course, more likely, you're gonna get a successful publishing, which will be notified. At this point, of course, we want to see how this publishing into ftrack gets represented on the server side. And we can see, for example, in this case, that we have the task that we have been selecting. So the context link. We have the component name that we didn't change it from the original file name. So of course, we have ftrack icon circle light as we had it in connect. We have the location name. Now, in this case, you might see a difference. That's only because I've been naming my location, but this is a centralized storage location as the one you have likely to be set up. And next to it, you have the path to it, basically. So the full path, the resolved full path to your published file. At this point, the file is saved on the server. Of course, always bear in mind, during the publishing in ftrack, your data will remain in the premises, so on your storage, where the metadata will be sent to the server. This is important, of course, because this metadata will help later on resolve this path. But let's have a really quick look on how the publishing process works. So of course, we select the publish, we select the file that we want to publish, we select the context that we want to publish to. We decide to create a new asset here. We select our asset type, we set the name, and we select that the web playable will be our image, and we add some contextual information to it. We click publish. We get notified of the result, and here we have the result. Now, you can see there was a job running on the top right corner. That was the encoding of the image that I selected in Connect. And you can see here, we have the image that we selected along with the component that we published. Hope it's clear up until now. I'm looking for your question by the end of the webinar, but let's move on with the action launcher now. Okay, so actions, you have been, again, looking into it likely into a previous webinar. In this case, we're gonna focus on the application launcher, which just are customization on top of the actions. I do suggest, of course, if you are a developer or someone with some skills or interest in developing with Python, to look into the actions of ftrack, because they're a really simple and powerful way to extend its functionalities. So let's get into it. Usual UI, we're gonna start again with an overall UI background and then goes more into detail. So although this interface, this part of the interface is less complex than the publishing one. Again, first things first, context selection. Context selection in this case will let us discover the actions. Here next to it, we have the recent action that we have been using, and by the end, we have all the actions that had been discovered into the same context. So first things first, context selection, same as the publishing, is the same widget. Browse, go to the entities, to the context that you want to work with, and click choose. Actions will show up. I want to do a really small digression on this. A lot of people get confused the first time they open up Connect because they do not see any action. And that's common, that's normal, because the actions requires a context, and by default, there's no context set. Also bear in mind that different integration in this case requires different contexts. For example, a Maya, a Nuke, a Houdini are more likely to work on tasks, where tools such as Nuke Studio will more likely, because of what does it do, so generating the project will require a project, and that's where you're gonna start see things differ. So if your context selected is a project, you're gonna get Nuke Studio showing up. If you do get a task selected, you're gonna get Maya, Nuke, or any other launcher or action that gets registered for discovery under that given type of context, task in this case. Same for this, same for the actions, the variants. In this case, variants for what concern application launcher are used to represent and express different versions of the same application. So in this case, for example, this different version of Nukes. These versions are collected. So once you hover over one of the icons, you can see three little lines. That means that you can expand. You're gonna have the list of the various versions you can choose from, click on one, and then it'll start. Other little tips at this point. So being the application launcher, just a derivative of the common actions, these will show up into your web browser. So when you are into a context, next you might remember from a few minutes ago, how to start connect from the task. Next to it, click the actions, and in there, you will find the application to start from. Please bear in mind, all these things will work as long as Connect is already running. So please do remember that. And let's have a really quick one now, demo on how to launch applications. In this case is Maya. It will start Maya. And of course, how the integration is loaded is a theme for another webinar. We're gonna start looking into it when we're gonna start looking actually in details about how the plugin system works. But we're gonna have just a little bit during this webinar just to give you a bit of an idea. But let's keep on going. So after the publishing, after the action launcher, we're gonna start looking into the tray icon. So when ftrack-connect starts, you will be having a new icon onto your system tray. And this basically is to keep a reference of the current instance of Connect running. And this icon is, of course, for conveniency, to let you know that Connect is running, but also is a really quick way to access some utility functions of it. The about, for example, we're gonna look into it with a bit more details in a minute. But of course, what does do it to provide further information about the current version of ftrack-connect package, and the integration there within it. Open will maximize the current Connect package instance in case it's been minimized. Open plugin directory will open through the using the Filesystem Browser of your operating system will open up a window with the default plugin directory, and we're gonna look into it into a minute. Logout and quit will remove your credentials and close Connect. So next time you open up Connect, you will have to re-authenticate, or otherwise you can use quit just to simply close your the ftrack-connect instance. Going a bit into the about, you have here, as you can see, we can see the ftrack-connect and ftrack-connect package. So remember, ftrack-connect is the tool. ftrack-connect package is the way we distribute it. Underneath, some information about the server in use, my username, and the plugin that has been discovered into Connect at the time of the startup. And then we're gonna get some more info. Now, more info, we won't be looking into it. It's a pretty technical page, but what you will be able to find into this page is the full set of environment variables that are taken in account by ftrack when starting. So this can be really useful in case you have some glitches or problem. This is absolutely one of the first places you want to go check if there's any problem. Next to it, open log directory. This is another place that is gonna come in hand when you have any issue, or you want to go to our support. But again, we're gonna look into this, when we're gonna go actually into the log files themselves. The create application shortcuts, it's something that it's a button that will appear just under Linux, and what will provide is just a simple way to have the ftrack-connect integrated into your desktop environment. It will create the mini files, and this way you can search for ftrack-connect among all the other applications installed on your system. So, log files. Let's take a second about log files. So when you click when you click the open log directory, you will have your your operating system opening the log folder, and this log folder contains various log files for each of the components parts of Connect running. These files basically contains the history of commands that have been going behind the curtains in Connect. And here is where you can easily spot if something has been breaking and what and why might have been breaking. The log files are usually easily composed. You're gonna have a level of warning, whether it's information, if it's a debug, or if it's an error or something worse. These files, every single time you get in touch with us for support, we're gonna ask for these files. So get ready, package them up into a zip file, send them to support, and it's likely that we're gonna be able to help you out in much easier way. Of course, if you're curious or you want to learn more about ftrack, I suggest start having a look into the log files, because in there you can have information about what has been going on during the process that we have been running. Now let's start digging a bit more in some more advanced topic, such as the resolver hook. So many times in our support tickets, we've been having questions about why my components turns red. So as we were explaining at the beginning, ftrack-connect does not save the full path to the file you have been publishing, but it stores bits and pieces of it in order to be resolved. The resolve can be, of course, against operating system, but it can do much more things. It's a really an advanced thing that we're not going to look into it now, but you're going to find the script, which is basically an event listener, into the resource hook resolve folder, the resource hook folder of ftrack-connect. So check in there, but basically whenever you're gonna see your component turning red, it can be various reasons, but usually it's basically the resolver telling you, I don't know where this file really is. It could be a glitch, or more likely you don't have Connect running. Bear in mind that the resolver can be made run, of course, as a standalone script as any other of the various events that we have. Now, let's have a brief look into the plugins. So plugins, of course, we do provide many plugins for Connect, and as we said at the beginning, we do package up into Connect package just the one that were released at the time. But what happens with the others? So into the main ftrack-connect portfolio page is where you're gonna have the showcase with the latest available version of these plugins. But these versions might not be the latest. The real latest can be found on our ftrack forum, where I usually release them as first thing. And then later on, we update the other links. So if you want to get the latest and greatest of our integrations, point your browser into the forum, ftrack.com, go to the integration page, and in there, you're gonna see a section for each of the integration, and in there, the new version released. Click on the zip and download it. Of course, though, if you do have coding abilities, even better is to access our repositories. So you can go into the repository and you can build your plugin and install it as you like. But let's have a really quick look on how to install plugins at this point. So once you have been downloading the plugin, whether it's from the showcase page, the forum, or you have been building yourself, what you will end up with is a zip file. So first thing first, you're gonna locate the plugin folder through the open plugin directory, take your zip, uncompress it, and drop it into the plugin folder. At this point, you can close and restore connect for it to be picking it up. Something you want to double check when you uncompress your zips is to ensure that the two mandatory folders are available into it. These are the hook and dependencies. So hook is a default folder that ftrack-connect will be looking for in order to see if there's any listener or action to be loaded. Dependencies actually is a folder that contains actually the dependencies of the integration. So when we build the integration, we make sure that are self-contained. So any Python module that it might require to run them will be into this folder. It's possible that you might find another folder along with it, which can be called resources or something else. These usually are just helper files. They're needed for the application to run. Sometimes you could be finding config files into it or something similar. And let's keep on going into some more advanced topic. So customizing the plugin location. So we saw now how to install plugins. Let's see now how plugins location can be customized. So for example, here at home where I work from, I like to keep all my plugins on my centralized storage. And so all I have to do is to take this environment variable, setting on the system-wise, and making it point to a shared folder on my NAS. That's where I keep all my integration ready to be used. And of course, it doesn't make much of a sense unless you're into a company, but in there, it's where you might want really to do this, to have one single place where to maintain your plugins. Of course, this path can contain this environment variable can contain multiple paths. So if you join them correctly, so starting from your local one and then going on into, starting from the remote one and then going to the local one, what you can have is a system of overrides where you can have the centralized plugins, and then you can have yours where you can keep on experimenting and developing in case. And now we're heading by the end, so let's touch something quite advanced, but I think is going to be helpful for the most of you. So of course, as we said, we do provide ftrack-connect package, which is the pre-packaged one, but what you do use is actually ftrack-connect, which is the Python bit, which can also be installed as standalone from the sources. Accessing the ftrack-connect source makes you able to provide any customization that you want, and without the need of having to repackage it up. So you can clone, customize it, install it, and people can use it. And of course, you can have sort of a continuous integration and deployment where you can keep on modifying, installing it into the central location, and people will pick up the latest and greatest. So how is pretty easy. If you have a bit of an experience with coding, you will have to clone or download the repository from Bitbucket. You will have to create, or at least it's suggested to create a virtual environment with Python, which should be higher than 2.7.9. Just a note, we're trying to enforce this across all our plugin and integration. If you do have some error building the integration, please bear in mind that at the moment they work with Python, which is over 2.7.9 and less than 3. We have plans, of course, now that Python 3 is coming, we already have work on it for what concerns Connect. So once you have the code cloned, once you have your virtual environment created, you can activate the virtual environment, go into your folder where the code is contained, run Python setup UI, install, and this will download all the dependencies that are required for Connect, install them into the virtual environment, and make the environment ready. Once it's ready, you can run, it will provide you with an ftrack-connect command. So, of course, this virtual environment can be local to your disk or can be into a network location. So this way you can centralize your deployment of ftrack-connect and basically make much easier for you, the developers, anyone else, to customize it and improve it over time without having users to have to change their way to run it. So one really important thing about ftrack and integration and the plugins is that we are all open source. Everything is available in our Bitbucket. So Bitbucket/ftrack, ftrack-connect, that's ftrack-connect itself. ftrack-connect package is the packaging system for ftrack-connect. So of course, if you have any security question, if you have any doubt, point your browser to Bitbucket/ftrack, go into the repository and have a look by yourself about what you're using. Along Connect and Connect package, of course, you will be able to find ftrack-connect Maya, ftrack-connect Nuke, Houdini, and etc. ftrack-connect New Studio. Any other integration we released is available on Bitbucket. So what is it ahead at this point? We have been working this year to code sign the installer for OS X and Windows, and this will see the light with the arrival of Connect 2, which will be ported to Python 3 and PySet 2, making it able to run also on the upcoming CentOS desktop version, which is 8, which is fully based on Python 3. Another thing that, of course, has been asked a lot of times in the past was to be able to customize Connect, not just customizing what is there, but also to extend it. So our plans for the upcoming year, 2021, is to provide a simple way to have plugins, basically, to express new tabs. These new tabs could be time tracking, for example, could be, and this touches our next subject, it's could be a plugin marketplace or something like that, or any other thing you feel suitable for your workflow, of course. And with this, I think we're heading to the end of the webinar. I hope and guess you have quite some questions ahead. Let's see.
Yes. Hi guys, please do use the Q&A box for questions, or I can see Frederick's writing in the chat. Frederick, that's fine. So yeah, either way, either in the questions and answer section or on the chat panel, please do submit your questions. I do have one that was submitted online earlier today, sorry.
Sure.
So yes, the question was, what is the difference between playable component in asset types and web playable in Connect?
Oh dear, yes, of course, sure, right. That's a fair one, actually. So it's actually, this is a source of confusion often from the end users because, of course, the naming can distract a bit. But basically, as we saw during the Connect, during the publishing, the web playable defines the component that will be encoded to be played on the web application. So bear in mind, this works for images, QuickTimes, but not for image sequences. There are ways, of course, through the event system to do that, but that's out of the scope of this webinar. Playable component, on the other hand, which is what you define into the asset types, define which component should be played when you load a version in ftrack review or in external players such as Hero or RV. So remember, web playable is just as display into the web interface. Playable component is actually for the review process. Hope it helps and clarify a bit the question. Let me see. I can see. Oh, there are questions coming in.
Here we go. There's more. So Andrew asks, will we post this on our webinar page? I do believe so. Simon, so thank you for your questions. Simon, hello, thanks for all informations. Do you know if there are any places where you can find user-made actions?
Yes. Okay. Yes. Actually, DJV. Yes, I saw it actually. I suggest. I've been discovering actually, and it's pretty interesting. If you browse like GitHub or Bitbucket and you search for ftrack, there's quite a lot actually of hooks and actions to start applications and so on. None of those, of course, are maintained by us, but are usually released by developers which have been using them into their workflow into the companies that they have been working in. So yes, absolutely. I suggest looking into the various code repositories, look for it. But of course, another thing is let us know if there's anything missing. We're gonna look into it. And please, 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 if you do come up or you find useful things, let us know on the forum. That's going to be helpful for us as much as for other ftrack users.
Sure. Awesome. Here's Frederick's question. If I launch, say, Nuke with ftrack-connect, will ftrack-connect set variables so I can easily find my project and my shots?
Not quite clear about projects and shots, but yes. So basically, we're gonna simplify this process. Of course, we're not standing still. It's the integration. The concept of integration is evolving, but yes, of course, when you start connect, the integration itself will provide some augmented information to the application, and that's why how we create the menus. We set, for example, the timeline. Something pretty common that we do is to extract the start frame and end frame from the parent. So remember, for example, in something like Nuke, we start from the task. So when we start Nuke, we access the parent of the task that usually is a sequence or a shot. From there, we extract the start frame and end frame, and we use that to set the timeline. For example, when we start Nuke, when we start Maya, and that's how we use this information. But yes, basically, it's possible also to add some more of this information. I have plans to provide some more of these tips and tricks into our repository examples.
Fantastic. That's great news. If there are no more questions, no one submitted any more to me an email or anything like that. So if there's no more questions, I think we can wrap it up there. Lorenzo, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. It has been a pleasure.
Great.
And of course, if you have been thinking of questions and you didn't think of getting enough courage to have them here, please send them over and I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, if you're shy and you have some questions, shoot us an email. You can use sales@ftrack.com and Lorenzo will be more than happy to help. And yes, thanks again. To see more webinars, please do visit ftrack.com/webinars. Also, to help us increase the value of our webinars, we're going to send a mini survey. Please, please, please do share your thoughts with us. It only leads to better webinars in the future. From the whole team at ftrack, we appreciate you spending your time with us and hope you all took something away during the session. Thanks so much for attending, and we wish you a pleasant day.
Thank you all, guys. I'll see you soon.